This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is
the one that everybody wants, me.
Becky Lynch is going to WrestleMania. Claymore!
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my iron. You're going to acknowledge me.
What's going on, everybody? Hope you're doing well. This is actually Saturday, as I'm recording this, Saturday, the 16th day of August. Hope everybody's doing well here on this weekend. I normally do Sunday, a very rare Saturday recording. I simply want to just be able to relax tomorrow night, so I'm doing the weekend review tonight. And I'll cover SmackDown, on my thoughts on SmackDown anyway. I'll give you a little bit more of a recap on the Monday Night Raw events and where we're headed, and also, of course, as Clash in Paris comes to us in just a couple of weeks, there's a lot to unpack there as well. But first, welcome to the show. This is the WWE Podcast. I hope that you guys stick around if you like the show and want to go ad-free. Patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Great place to get started if you want to remove those pesky ads. All right. Well, there's a lot of talk lately. Before I get into the specifics, and you guys, by the way, can go listen to Amanda from the UK. Did a great job of just breaking down SmackDown, giving her thoughts on it from last night. So before I get into that and get into a little bit of Monday Night Raw, there has been, and maybe it's my algorithm on social media, I'm not sure, but there's been this chatter, this consistent chatter that I've been seeing on social media about WWE's current product. And there's the typical criticisms about, oh, they don't know what they're doing. It's predictable. Like, you hear that no matter what time of year or what's going on. But it's been consistent now for a couple of weeks. And the general criticism I'm getting is that the show feels directionless. It feels soulless. Another really bad SmackDown. Are we watching the same product? I'm not here to blow smoke up WWE's ass. Quite the contrary. If you guys have heard me over the last several years, you know that I'm probably more nitpicky and critical than most, to the detriment of my listeners, but it is what it is. I just don't feel like WWE is at a really low point right now. I don't know what people are getting at when they talk about this, and maybe some of the people out there who are saying this can inform me, enlighten me here, because I'm not sure what is going on that's exceptionally bad right now. Sure, I mean, it's not what it used to be just a couple of years ago when Roman Reigns was running SmackDown and we had the Bloodline. That was actually an interesting story. We had Sami Zayn infiltrating the Bloodline. That made it ultra interesting. Sure. Yeah, I mean, you can't always be at a high point. It's impossible. But I don't know what is, as of late, really triggering the dislike for the product as a whole. I guess it's that the big stars, when the big stars aren't there, people get all up in arms. I've seen criticism about Brock Lesnar not being there, but what did you guys expect with Brock Lesnar? Did you see his first run in WWE from 2012 when he returned to the company? Did anybody really believe he's going to be here? I mean, in any respect regularly? No. He's making Roman Reigns look like a full-timer. You know, with Brock Lesnar's schedule. I mean, Brock Lesnar came back a couple weeks ago. We haven't seen or heard from him since. And they paid him a whole bunch of money to be there. So WWE is going to be clearly milking that with the John Cena attack for a while. It very well could be that Brock does appear in Paris, although I doubt it. It's possible that Brock does show up there and screw John Cena. It's very possible, right, to lead to the next event, which is going to be a September PLE to counter AEW's All Out pay-per-view. It is going to take place on September 20th in Indianapolis, Indiana. It does coincide with AEW's All Out pay-per-view scheduled. That is going to be, I believe, from I'm looking at it now, the Scotiabank Arena in Toronto. So this is, people are speculating it's Bad Blood. It very well could be. I'm really I don't need more PLEs. I've been on that tirade many times. I don't need more. More is not better, but they think it is. And that means, though, that we could get a Brock Lesnar John Cena match at that PLE in Indianapolis on September 20th. Ergo, Brock could be at Clash in Paris or the following SmackDown whenever John Cena's next scheduled appearance is. But dates are running thin on John. What do we have, 10 dates left? 11 maybe? Like, we're getting to the very end. The very end. And I'm curious as to how everybody thinks about John Cena's run for the last year. Now, the heel run does certainly sour a lot of people's view of this last year. It, without question, ended up not working out. It was not the best work of anybody. I still, regardless of the outcome, completely agree with their decision. Even knowing what the outcome would be, I still would have done it so we could say we did it. But I'm curious to hear what everyone else feels so far. If John Cena's run were to end now, how would you feel about it for the last 8 months since John Cena returned? The Netflix debut and then off to the races, right? Here we go. John Cena is now 8 months in, 4 to go, 10 dates, not much left. Brock Lesnar is his next opponent, presumably. And then could it be Edge? Do I dare say Edge somehow? I keep pushing it. Edge would be the perfect final opponent for John Cena. If they can somehow coerce Adam Copeland to come back for just even a special here, regardless of his contract status, do some kind of exemption. I don't know. Whatever it takes to get Adam Copeland to face John Cena in December would, to me, be worth it. Of course, that's me spending money that's not my own, which is incredibly easy to do. I have a problem spending my own money, much less people's money I don't even know. So, alrighty. That was just a quick little thought here on the open, and let's dive into SmackDown. And it opened with the MFT, and Solo Sikoa leading the group there. And he said they run SmackDown. Solo boasted that they stomped out Sami Zayn, Jimmy Uso, and Jacob Fatu. And he started to make a challenge to anyone backstage, but he was interrupted by Sami Zayn. And Solo remained in the ring while the MFT headed to ringside. Zayn said everyone had heard him talk about becoming a world champion. And he said that he had beaten Rusev on Raw. He may not have been in the World Heavyweight Championship match at Clash in Paris. And he said he actually felt liberated. He said that he felt he'd been spinning his wheels and now could go back to doing other things he set out to do. He thanked Solo and said the U.S. Championship is another title that he hasn't held in WWE. And Solo said that Zayn wouldn't hold it soon and told him to get off his show and out of his ring. Yeah, again, people just crossing brands for no reason. I will continue to point that out, yes. Zayn then told Solo he's officially a SmackDown wrestler. And again, how that... Now, I said that this is something I'll continue to point out, yes. But also, how did that even happen? Is there a trade? Why did that happen? How? The student being like, okay, fine. They're explaining he's a SmackDown wrestler now, which I appreciate. But also, how did that happen? Was there a trade? Is anyone going to explain this? However, Zayn said he's coming for for Solo and the U.S. title. And Solo threw a punch at Zayn. And that's when the brawl broke out. Jimmy Uso comes out to help. Tala Tonga knocked him down, set up for a choke slam. Jacob Fatu comes to the ring and helped clear the three heels from the ring. And there is no tried and true method. There is nothing more scientifically proven than if a even number of heels and baby faces are in the open of a show, or really in any segment of the show, and they clear each other out, that the general manager or commissioner, whoever's in charge that night, they are contractually obligated to come out and make a tag team match per Teddy Long's rules. It just, without fail. And it happened here with Nick Aldis. He comes out and he makes a 6-man tag team match that would be the main event of SmackDown. Again, I'm not angry with it. It's just something that is, there's nothing more pro wrestling than that. That is quintessential pro wrestling logic. Alrighty, so Zayn, again, I guess he's a part of SmackDown now. And it is kind of lame that a guy like Sami Zayn, that they are seemingly still laying the foundation to chase the world title probably later in the year or towards the beginning of next year with the Royal Rumble. That the fact that he's traded to SmackDown, apparently traded, did he migrate? Did he use osmosis? How did he become a SmackDown wrestler? The fact, though, that regardless of how it happened, a trade or what otherwise, the fact that WWE is not making a big deal out of it is a big deal. The guy is supposed to be this underdog. He's one of your biggest babyfaces in the company. One of. And again, it seems like you're laying the foundation work for a potential world title run, and you're making his move to SmackDown completely bland, tasteless. They should make a bigger deal of it, but all right. So Alexa Bliss comes out, and she was accompanied by Charlotte Flair. So Alexa took on Piper Niven. This match went 7.5 minutes with Alexa beating Piper Niven as Bliss dropped down from the rope, took out Alba Fire, and then Bliss avoided a charging Niven and rolled her up to get the 3 count. Afterwards, the referees raised Bliss's hand, Fire super kicked Bliss, and then Flair beat down Green with chops, but then Niven blindsided Flair, and eventually the heels got the better of Alexa and Charlotte to stand tall as Alba Fire hits her finish on Bliss, and then Niven splashed her from the ropes. So this to me was fine. I mean, the chemistry continues with Alexa and Charlotte. Certainly a better segment this week than last week's forced, kind of at times cringeworthy birthday celebration for Lexi. And the fact that Piper Niven lost but got her heat back with Chelsea Green was how you do wrestling. Right? The babyfaces prevail, but they didn't. It's not a total satisfactory win because they got their heat back by getting beat down after. And now you want to see Charlotte and Alexa get the revenge, even though they won the match, or Alexa won the match. You still want to see them get revenge because of the actions after the match. And so it's just typical psychology here. And I think it's fine. And Chelsea Green and Piper Niven have never been more relevant than they are now. They really haven't. They're a great duo as well. And you know what? The more that Alexa and Charlotte stay together, which who knows how long that's going to last. It's not a long-term gig. They are single stars that are temporarily together under the guise of a tag team. But I will say, when things like this happen, when you have two single stars, big single stars come together for brief time to win the women's tag team titles, as cursed as those titles are, there is a benefit to having this type of scenario, and that is that it adds legitimacy to the tag team division. It adds star power to a desperately needed division in need of star power. So that is the upside here. That you have a legitimate team, I guess as legitimate as a tag team can be in 2025. Really, they're just single stars slapped together, but fine, they're a team. And they are two big stars that the company have in the women's side of things that are coming together to carry those women's tag team titles, to add value to them and the division as a whole. So it's really a win-win-win. For a win for Alexa, win for Charlotte, and a win for WWE's tag team division on the women's side. So, okay. Backstage, Nick Aldis stood between women's champion Tiffany Stratton and Jade and eventually stopped them from bickering. I really don't like this. Is something I can do without. This is something I could do without for the women's side of things. That there's the way that a lot of matches have happened over the last, I don't know how many decades of women's wrestling. We've seen them bickering and just trying to talk over each other. And then a dude has to step in and be like, ladies, ladies, ladies. And it's almost just, it's a stereotype that, are these women really doing this backstage? It's a bit childish of an approach, is my point. And it's an overused approach. And it's not a good look for anybody, talking over each other. again, bickering like children. Not my style of introducing a segment with the women involved, and that has happened way too much. But Nia Jax shows up, the adult in the room, I guess, and took issue with Jade wanting a rematch. Jax suggested that Jade fall back and let her take care of Stratton, and said she wouldn't fall back for anyone. That's all Jade said. Yeah, that's it, Jade. Stratton said the result of her facing Jax would always be the same. Said if Jax had to prove it before she has to prove it to Jade, they both should bring it. And that was that. Okay, so Tiffany, Jade, and Nia Jax are entangled in a threesome of sorts in wrestling land anyway. Okay, so Fraxium and let's see, Carmelo Hayes and The Miz. That's what it was. Is the next match here. This went 12 minutes and 20 seconds with Carmelo and The Miz beating Fraxium. Now, the finish was Frazier had Hayes pinned after hitting him with a Phoenix Splash. Miz jumped off Frazier's back to break up the pin and then hit Axiom with a DDT on the way down. Hayes hit Frazier with a cutter after both men had been on the top rope. Hayes went to the rope, but Miz tagged himself in after he was going to go for nothing but net. And then Miz hit Frazier with the skull-crushing finale and got the victory. So Carmelo and The Miz again beat Fraxium, Nathan Frazier and Axiom. And again, tag team match. Good. This is a very tag team heavy show. And that's okay. You can have that once in a while. I also like the fact that you have The Miz doing something relevant instead of just being kind of a default backstage agent for WWE at this point in his career. And does it put Carmelo and Miz in a tag team title scenario? Potentially. Maybe. But the story here is tension between The Miz and Carmelo, which was, yeah, I mean, you had The Miz be an opportunist here, spoil nothing but net, and then have him come in and get the victory. Very heelish. So, all right. Backstage, Kiana James approached Tiffany and advised her to get some backup. And James said there was no one better for her than Julia. And Stratton said she's a champion already and doesn't need backup. And James said that if Stratton isn't with them, then she's against them, and spoke about how Julia could take the women's championship. Meechin, yes, she still works there, showed up after Stratton walked away and said that if James had taken her calls, she'd know that she had Julia next. And Kiana said that would be under advisement and walked away. McIntyre then comes out for his promo. And he said people had been asking him all week, why did he Claymore kick Cody's head through the front of the broadcast table? He said it was so violent he felt everyone needed to see it again, which was funny. He then claimed that he did not attack Cody. And he said he asked Tessitore about a medical update. When Tessitore said there wasn't one, McIntyre questioned if someone from management was hiding it because he had taken out their golden boy. And McIntyre said he doesn't hate Cody. He feels sorry for him. He said Cody cares about what the fans and management think. He said he was like that 5 years ago, but he evolved. And said he realized that the fans forget about them once they retire. And said he does it for his family and the big paycheck. But Cody needs the WWE Championship. I think there's a lot of truth in what McIntyre's saying here. He absolutely does it for his family and the paycheck. I mean, who the hell is not there for the money? I mean, of course you are. But he asked who Cody is without his story. McIntyre once again said he didn't attack Cody. He said Cody attacked him. And recalled Cody slamming his face into the ring post and then clearing the broadcast table after the match, and said Cody was going to put him through the table and take him out. And he said he just defended himself and said he's not the bad guy, but he will do very violent things if he's provoked. And a great line he said here was, if you provoked me, I'm the real nightmare. And McIntyre said that before tossing it down and told Cody to get better soon. So he, again, another really good strong performance here from McIntyre, as it is every time he touches the microphone. He is just the quintessential polished wrestler, up and down, from in-ring that never has a bad match to just his promos are so solid. Are they A++? No, but they're so far above a lot of the guys currently working that he is in the top tier, I believe. He can hang with nearly everyone on the microphone. He still can hold the championship, and you could still build the company temporarily around him for the next few years. He's not the youngest guy in the world, but he's proven that he's fairly durable when it comes to injury. He's not out all the time. A guy you can rely on, doesn't get the company in trouble, and so on. And I love him calling out Cody and saying that who is he without his story, and claiming that he's just he acted in self-defense, which again is true. There's nothing he said here that's a lie. They are all inconvenient facts for people trying to support Cody. And again, the way it's framed, of course, they're trying to make McIntyre the heel here, and I'm fine with him remaining the heel. I'm not suggesting they should turn Drew McIntyre babyface by any means. I think Drew is doing a fantastic job and continues to be a heel, whatever this is, this truth-telling machine. And it's just so fun to watch. So Cody not there. Again, I think that's also why people are possibly complaining is, Cody wasn't there, and John Cena, and all the, where's Brock Lesnar? Hey, you can't have all the big guys all the time. I know people just expect it because we're spoiled children as wrestling fans, but I'm more than willing to accept time off from big stars. I have accustomed myself to that, and I think, perhaps today's younger generation just wants everything at this moment, all the time, at the best, and it's just, unfortunately, you're setting yourself up for disappointment if you think like that. So, okay. Byron Saxton interviewed the Street Profits, who were with B-Fab backstage, and Saxton brought up their match with DIY and asked if they felt they'd be in line for another tag team title shot with a win. Solo Sikoa and his group showed up. He took issue with the Profits going after the titles and said that if the Profits want the tag team titles, they would have to run through him and his crew. The Profits blew him off, and apparently they still want the smoke. I mean, it's been so long. I mean, why don't they just get the smoke? They've been after this smoke for how long now? Go get it. Yeah, okay, you don't need, we've heard you. We know what you want. Go find it. Hunt this mysterious smoke down. Capture it. Right? Put it in a cage. You've been after it for so long. You know, at this point, it's elusive. It's like Bigfoot. I'm being a facetious jerk, but you get my point. I mean, the Street Profits are a team that WWE doesn't know what the F to do with them. They're talented. They know they have larger-than-life personalities. Montez more than his partner, but for years, literally years now, we've been waiting for Montez to have his breakout moment. Angelo Dawkins can, maybe he'll end up being a star too, but I understand the men's tag team division is also just by default in need of depth, as just at any given moment, tag team wrestling is in need of depth. But the Street Profits have more than had their share of time in the ring, and the We Want Smoke stuff, and the solo cups and all the rest. They've moved beyond that. It took them too long. And then they were part of Bobby Lashley, and then they were heel and not heel, and it got weird, and then they're back, and then the Street Profits need to do something. They are stuck in time, frozen in time. We need to pull them out, or WWE needs to pull them out. And what's the solution? I don't know. I'm not being paid to come up with that solution. I just know as a fan, when I can see something that has been more than, its shelf life was like 4 years ago, and it's on the shelf and it's just molding at this point. And you're like, why is no one taking this off the shelf? The Street Profits, it's a little bit dramatic to compare them to a moldy piece of, produce. But my point is, remains, and that is the Street Profits need to evolve. They have not. Not enough. Not nearly enough. And maybe they need to evolve apart. I don't need a match with Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford. Just have them separate. It's time. Maybe the draft, if that happens this year, they can do that. So let's continue here. we have, let's see. Oh, the Street Profits, as I said, took on DIY. This match went 9.5 minutes with the Street Profits getting the victory after Dawkins hit Sky High on Ciampa, and then Ford followed up with a top rope frog splash, and Dawkins covered Ciampa and got the victory. Again, the matchup quality is fine. It's fun. It's high flying. It's fast paced, and that's what you're looking for in this type of tag team match with these guys. It's just a matter of we're only entertained by the in-ring. We have no actual connection with any emotional connection with any of the wrestlers in the ring. That's the bigger problem. Okay. So another backstage segment again with Carmelo Hayes interrupting a conversation that Nick Aldis had with Motor City Machine Guns, but let's continue. Aleister Black interrupted Byron Saxton's interview with R-Truth, who was happy that John Cena was back. Black asked about Damian Priest and said that with friends like Truth, who needs enemies? Truth asked him how he could tell who he is, and Black said he'd see Truth next week. So Truth is back to being Truth, I guess, for the best. Backstage, Sammy then spoke with Jimmy Uso and Jacob Fatu, and he thanked Fatu for having his back earlier, and Fatu said he was helping Jimmy. Zayn said Jimmy is his brother too, and asked if they could work together in the main event. Fatu told Jimmy to make sure Zayn stays out of his way. So then we have a advertisement for next week for the matches and segments advertised for next week's Friday Night SmackDown in Dublin, Ireland. Cue all of the chants I don't understand. We're back in that season of sports chants and homegrown chants that I have no idea what they're saying or why, or again, just this is coming from a boring U.S. fan. Admittedly, the one that, if I go to an event, it's going to take a lot to get me to cheer or boo, mainly because I'm 40 years old and I feel like sometimes what they're putting out there in a live event is it would be embarrassing as a 40-year-old to be cheering or booing for some of the stuff that's going on. It would have to be, something a little bit more substantial for me. And that's just my own issues. I could probably do a psychoanalysis on that, but I won't. So we have next week, we have John Cena appearing. So that's going to be fun. The Motor City Machine Guns, Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin take on Carmelo Hayes and The Miz. And Aleister Black, as I just mentioned, takes on R-Truth. Not Ron Killings, R-Truth. All right. We get the tag team main event here. This match went 11 minutes with Jacob Fatu, Jimmy Uso, and Sami Zayn taking on Solo, JC Mateo, and Tonga Loa. Of course, Tala Tonga is on the outside. And the finish of this saw Mateo breaking up the pin. Jacob cleared Loa from the ring and then hit a top rope splash. Solo went for the Samoan spike on Sammy, but he blocked it and hit him with an exploder suplex. Zayn followed up with a haluva kick and got the victory. So the heels lose this match in 11 minutes. After the match, Jimmy hugged Fatu and Zayn, then mentioned for them to come together, and Fatu and Zayn shook hands and hugged while the credits rolled. So there was some tension here with Fatu and Zayn. Are they going to come to blows? Are they going to be able to get along? And the crowd really popped for Fatu and Zayn hugging it out here. And I think this is good. Some people are concerned that it softens the image of Jacob Fatu. I would argue that it humanizes him, because Jacob Fatu forever, he's been known as the werewolf, right? And Samoan werewolf. Well, instead of just being this kind of mindless animalistic carnivore, it actually adds a little bit of human emotion to him, that he can actually, he can feel happiness and he can bond with other wrestlers other than just acting like a wild, rabid, dog, so to speak. And that's good. I think it's good for everybody. Do I need to see Jacob Fatu coming out next week and holding hands with Sami Zayn? No. Right? But if for the moment it's a range of emotions. It adds just another layer, even if it's a small one, to Jacob Fatu. And that's how you build stars, my friend. That's how you build stars. You just add layers when appropriate. show that they have range, that they can be relatable. They're telling a story here, and it's not just about pure violence. And that was just a good moment. So again, I'm challenging people to just come to me, and I'm not being combative or anything. I'm just being genuinely curious. Why is it, for those people that have been complaining, that everyone's saying that WWE needs to go a totally different direction and Triple H needs to be fired and all the rest? Like, what is so bad that needs to happen? And if that happens, what changes do you realistically think are going to be implemented with Triple H not there anymore? I mean, the company's not going to change their methods, how they're approaching this. It's just going to be another face to fill the creative role that's going to just push the mission of whatever Triple H was pushing. The face will change, but the mission and the style won't change, I don't believe, that much. It's kind of like being the manager of an MLB team. It's really, everything's driven by analytics and whatever the front office wants. So does the manager really have control of managing the team how he wants to? No, not really. Managers are just doing the bidding of the front office. So they're essentially just puppets to the front office. They're just faces. So it's kind of like that. And by the way, did anyone see the picture that's floating around of Stephanie McMahon and Triple H in Greece on a boat? It's not AI. Somebody captured them on a boat in Greece in the middle of an ocean in bathing suits on the back of a boat. And boy, so Stephanie, I will say, if we're just going to comment on that, I know some people did. Stephanie looking pretty dang good for her age. Triple H, on the other hand, time away from the ring and focusing on his gym routine and his fitness have certainly taken its toll. And I'm not shaming him for it. Hey, he's not an in-ring performer anymore. He is he's a suit. He's in charge of creative. He's got other priorities. He doesn't have to kill himself to be in top shape because that's not who he is anymore. But if I was to put a number on it, I mean, I'd say he put on a good 30, 40 pounds of just body fat. Hey, again, who cares? Because even if Stephanie did that, I mean, neither of them are in-ring wrestlers, but you're out in a public place and you get a public picture taken of you. Those are my thoughts. Yeah. So look it up if you're interested. Triple H certainly, doesn't look like the game right now. Okay. Let's make a quick trip over to Monday Night Raw and remind you of some of the results there and some of what happened over on Raw this past week. We had CM Punk open the show, if you remember, and he said that he has a Seth Rollins problem, and he recalled saying that, don't hate the player, hate the game, but he does hate the player, Seth Rollins. And he talked about how Seth won't have to pretend to be injured anymore because he's going to break his leg. And LA Knight comes out, and there was some tension there. LA Knight held his own. I remember talking about that on Monday Night Raw review. He felt like he could hang a little bit with CM Punk. He didn't seem intimidated by Punk. LA Knight didn't fumble over his words as he sometimes does. He felt confident, and there was, again, some tension, some competitively healthy tension, nothing personal. They just have a common enemy, and there is just, as I said on the Monday Night Raw review, but I'll reiterate here, there's no chance that they go into a LA Knight CM Punk program right now. There's just no chance. Why would they? CM Punk's got his own path. LA Knight seemingly has his own path, but all right. So we had Paul Heyman come out, if you remember, with Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. Shoes around the neck of Bronson Reed. Heyman mocked the French fans, which I remember laughing at, and saying he called their language a guttural language, which really was great. And he told Knight he should avoid getting in the favor business with Punk. And it ended up with Breaker nearly snapping, but Paul Heyman pulling him back. And we got a tag team main event for the end of the night being made. So let's continue here. AJ Styles and Dragon Lee versus Dom and El Grande. Wow, big week of tag team matches. It was just a tag team fest the last week here. So Dom and El Grande beat AJ and Dragon Lee in 16 minutes and 40 seconds. And let's see here. We had Sheamus show up, and he said to Pierce that Pierce wanted to see him, and he told Sheamus that he couldn't have a repeat of what happened with him and Rusev last week. And Zayn told Sheamus the match meant a lot to him and not to get involved, so he gave him his word. And we get Rusev versus Sami Zayn, which went 10.5 minutes with Sami Zayn fighting Rusev to a no contest. And that's because it was stopped by Solo, Tala, Jason Mateo, and Tonga Loa. And Mateo and Loa pulled Zayn to the floor, roughed him up. Sheamus comes on the other side of the ring and attacks Rusev. Sheamus got the better of Rusev and ran him through a crowd out to the arena. And Zayn was still down and being looked at by producers. So, yeah, this did not have a definitive conclusion, kind of a lame finish with Sami Zayn fighting Rusev here. This is a program that's not going to be continuing here. It was just a vehicle to get the MFTs out. And yeah, I got to say, that is one group, and I will concede that. And some of the heat has been on Solo and his group, that just they're a boring group. I have to admit they kind of are. They are a spin-off of a spin-off. You know? Like, they are a spin-off of the Bloodline, but then there was a in-between Bloodline when Solo was, when Roman left, that Solo took over with the OG Bloodline, but then as those members left, it became this Bloodline. So this is a spin-off of a spin-off. Usually not good when you apply that to any other entertainment platform or any other entertainment form of entertainment, like a television show or a movie. Spin-offs are often hard to be good. And then you take a spin-off of a spin-off. How many spin-off of a spin-off movies or TV shows can you name that are better than the OG? Very few. Very few. So, that being said, they are a boring group. I will concede that. And the reason is pretty simple. It's not hard to really break down into a fine powder. It's the fact that they were introduced too quickly. They also don't get a lot of time to talk, if ever. They all blend together. They're just one big, like, mud mixing type of group. Like, they're all interchangeable outside of Tala Tonga, who's just got the size to differentiate himself. So he automatically kind of gets your attention a little bit more because of that. But the other ones, like Tongaloa, Tama Tonga, like, they're all interchangeable in your mind. And if they're not, you're lying. They are. No one's actually paying attention to either one of them for sure. JC Mateo, of course, does look a little bit different, but even besides the size difference that gets your attention with Tala and with JC Mateo, and Tama Tonga and Tongaloa, of course, are the two ones that are just invisible in that group. But outside of that, all of them don't have a personality. And now Solo continues to lose here. And he is not unbeatable. There was a time when Solo was unbeatable until Cody Rhodes gave him his first loss. I believe it was right before WrestleMania 39. But Solo Sikoa does not feel unbeatable anymore. Sure, he's United States champion, but again, his backup don't have much to say. They don't have a good personality. There's not a lot of chemistry there. The only thing bonding them is the fact that, we're all Tongans. How about that? We all come from the same bloodline. Pretty cool, huh? At least with Jimmy and Jay and Sammy and Roman and Paul, there was like storylines going on within storylines and the infiltration of Sammy. And is Sammy going to get kicked out? Is he going to get beat up? Is he going to eventually soften up to Roman? Is Roman going to turn? And there was some fun dynamics in Sammy trying to infiltrate from within and maybe trying to turn Jay on Roman. And remember all that? That was fun. This is just one big vanilla version of the Bloodline. It is to say it's a Walmart version would be giving it too much credit. What do people talk about? The Wish version? Or there's another cheap site that you can get like crappy knockoff products from that I can't think of. It's like that. And can they fix this? Can they mediate this? Yes, they can. They can remediate it. But it's going to take work that I don't know if they're willing to put in. So I think, and I can concede with that the Solo Sikoa, MFT, Bloodline 3.0, whatever this version of is the Bloodline, people are burned out of it, man. Because not only is this a storyline that won't die, but also because people don't know them. They're not connected to it. They're just a bunch of Tongans. That's the connection. And we're supposed to be, somehow interested in that. So then we have Io Sky versus Roxanne Perez with Raquel Rodriguez. This match went 15 minutes and 40 seconds with Roxanne beating Io. Again, this was a really good match from what I can recall. And some tension here with Asuka and Io and Kairi that people are speculating could lead to a turn of Asuka. Whatever. I've said that for a week and a half now. Like, sure, turn her, whatever. She can do both. All right. We have Becky Lynch taking on Maxine Dupree for the Women's Intercontinental Championship, defending it. The match went 5.5 minutes with Becky beating Maxine, and to absolutely nobody's surprise. Afterward, Natalya and Tozawa checked on Dupree, and Lynch threw a cheap shot at Natalya, which was funny as hell. All right. A Bayley promo video aired that was just fantastic. They did this in a way that was a documentary style, but it felt real. I mean, there was some real stuff that Bayley was putting out there. And is it hinting at a darker Bayley? Yes. What kind of dark Bayley? I don't know. Again, hopefully not one that mimics Alexa Bliss's footsteps of carrying around a doll. And sitting on a playground backstage for a year and a half. Hopefully it's one that's grounded in some kind of reality. One that's not like Nikki Cross either. Nikki Cross is just, again, I don't dislike either of these characters, but I don't need direct replications of them because they have their own fatal flaws, like Nikki Cross, who is a complete knockoff of The Ring. But whatever this is with Bayley, I'm interested. This was very well done. The production of this segment was very well done for Bayley, how she doesn't feel like herself, and she's never felt like she's wants more but feels less, and she's in a very conflicting space in her head, and it's fun to watch. Okay, CM Punk and LA Knight take on Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. CM Punk and LA Knight beat Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed by DQ. Again, another kind of wonky finish. Punk gets the hot tag. He got Breaker down, hit him with a top rope elbow, and then removed his shirt and signaled for the GTS. But Seth Rollins comes in and attacks Punk for the DQ finish. And that's when Jey Uso comes out with a chair. Breaker met Jey in the entrance aisle, was put down with some chair shots, and it just became chaos as Adam Pearce walked on the stage and said it would be very easy to be angry with Rollins because he's a liar and a master manipulator who interferes in matches and tries to injure wrestlers. And Pearce said he wouldn't be angry. He looked at it as an opportunity, and he makes a fatal 4-way match for the WWE World Title at Clash in Paris with LA Knight, CM Punk, Seth Rollins, and Jey Uso. So fun match that, again, it's not going to end with Seth Rollins dropping the belt, nor should it. But it's going to be fun to watch how they get there. It's going to be fun to watch how they get to the point of Seth retaining. Is it just as simple as Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed interfering because it's a no DQ match because there's 4 people involved? Because every multi-person match has to be no DQ by default, which is stupid. No one can logically explain that to me. I'll continue to harp on that because this is an incredibly glaringly obvious, embarrassing loophole in the fact that this is every multi-person match, man or woman, outside of tag team matches, somehow are just no DQ. Yeah, you can use weapons because there's another person in the match. Explain that to me. Make it make sense. All right. Well, that'll do it for my weekend review. I hope you guys are enjoying your weekend again a little bit early this week. So that means tomorrow I might post kind of do a repost or a rewind from several years ago. And I try to make it a long form audio. I know some of you, based on the stats, have been enjoying just kind of hitting play and maybe falling asleep or whatever you're doing. But yeah, those longer shows of hour and a half to 2.5 hours, I'm trying to dig those out and post them for you guys because it's interesting to listen. Those are the ones also that had co-hosts on, and they were a lot of fun. So, all righty. Well, thank you, everybody. I hope you're enjoying your weekend. I'll be back in person doing a real show, barring some crazy news, on Tuesday for your Raw review. But, of course, between now and then, look for some retro rewind shows. Thanks, everybody, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.